Maxwell.
Yeah, let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. Last time we talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, she had, I think, just been arrested, and you were kind of telling your thoughts on what you think was going to happen to her.
A lot of what we said has unfolded. When Maxwell got arrested, the more conspiratorial were saying that the fix was already in. You know, she would get a pass somehow and she would be let off so as to not name all of these people, her co-conspirators, royalty, people at the head of business, etc. But we've seen in the courts, month after month, motion after motion go against her. She offered a multi-million-dollar bail bond package, and the judge shut that down. She revealed that she's married, and I think it was 25 million. And the prosecutor said, you know, she's got multiple citizenship, France, Israel, the UK, and that money, you know, if she's facing life sentence, she could just easily walk away from it. We don't know how deep her pockets are, but we believe the money that she said her husband was putting up was her money in the beginning. So, you know, it's probably chunk change to her with her assets she's got around the world. Then we saw, as well as the denial of the bail bond, which has been going back and forth, we saw the authorities putting increased pressure on Prince Andrew to cooperate in this, and he's still reneging. And towards the end of the year, we saw two other huge players, one in the Epstein case, one in a case of his own. I'm talking about Jean-Luc Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel got arrested in France. Epstein had boasted he had slept with over 1,000 girls from Jean-Luc Brunel's pipeline from Europe to America, including 12-year-old triplets. And he was laughing at what good oral sex they had given him on his birthday as this present from Jean-Luc Brunel. So I've been doing a series of interviews with a guy called Fred on my channel. He's out of France. He might be a good one for you to get on, who's an absolute expert in Jean-Luc Brunel. So he's at the forefront of this group of activists in France who are exposing this bastard. Virginia has said that at the orgy on the island, in which Prince Andrew was participating, this is Virginia's words, in which Maxwell was participating and Epstein, that they were joking that these girls that Jean-Luc Brunel had sent over were the easiest ones. They couldn't even speak any English. And they were from these poor families in Eastern Europe. Jean-Luc Brunel was running a modeling agency, and you know, they tell these girls, we're going to launch a career, come with us. And next thing, they're getting sex trafficked. So the French authorities as well are leaning on Prince Andrew to give information. Now, is Prince Andrew, you know, and these other big names, the sleeve Maxwell's got up her, the card that Maxwell's got up her sleeve? Even if she does, it would be in the interest of national security to prevent that information from ever coming out. We're talking about Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, multi-billionaires, Leon Black. It's come out since our last interview. Gave Epstein 150 million. So Epstein, when he died, his net worth was around $500 million. Leon Black, who manages one of the biggest funds in the world, gave Epstein 150 million. A lot of that money must have gone to the sex trafficking. So he directly, his money was going into the sex trafficking of these kids, but nothing's been done to him. So there are these huge names that seem to be untouchable. So the trial is scheduled for this summer. And what Maxwell has been doing is going to court every month and trying to increase her plea bargaining power. Because right before the trial, each side then will try and get together, and based on the plea bargaining power of the defendant a deal will be agreed to avoid trial. I think that is the most likely outcome. It might not necessarily happen right before this summer trial date, because that summer trial date is like a musical chair. They could push that back 3 months, 6 months. They can keep going with that. But at some point, I believe that Maxwell will have to take a plea bargain. So, what does that mean? She has to take a plea bargain. Let's say she'd won all of these motions and she had a really strong plea bargaining power just before the trial. They might offer her like 5 to 10. So she gets up in front of the judge, shows remorse, and she's got all these mitigating circumstances. The judge has had a nice breakfast that day. He's not, he's in a good mood. The judge might sentence her to the lower end of that range. So if she's got 5 to 10, the judge might give her 6 years. If she's going to court every month and all the motions are going against her, and more witnesses are found, and more charges are added to the indictment, she is losing her plea bargaining power. So by the time it gets to trial, they may say, look, the position you're in right now, the best we could do is offer you 15 to 20. Now she's going to say, right, 15 to 20, if I get 15, it's the feds. I serve 85% of that time. The best years of my life are over. So I'm going to roll the dice and take it to trial. And I'm going to name these people. But at that point, the intelligence agencies would come in and say, look, national security, you can't go there. So these are the forces behind the scene at play. I've interviewed various people, and they believe that Maxwell is sat on the biggest treasure trove of political capital in the history of the world in terms of who Epstein filmed or recorded having sex with these trafficked girls. So if she's got stuff on the Clintons, royal family members, whatever it is, if she feels so trapped that she's going to lose the rest of her life, she might want to activate that treasure trove and use that as some kind of bargaining power. But Biden has come in. So we've seen the changing of the guard in the White House. Biden and the Clinton crime family are like that. So we believe that Biden coming in will benefit Maxwell, because that information will not be allowed to come out under a Biden presidency with him at the top of the feds. And again, just like the title of part one, there's always the possibility that Maxwell will get Epsteined. What are they doing supposedly to prevent that? She has a whole floor of the jail to herself. Yep. She's not in a general population of prisoners. She's asked to be moved to a general population of prisoners so she can be around people and have those benefits. But because of the nature of her crimes, the inmate population is likely to, at the very least, attack and extort her, or maybe even possibly kill her. She's been checked by guards continuously. She's saying that, they're waking her up when she's asleep, checking that she's still alive, and the place is cameraed up like crazy. Just this week, she started to fight back, and her lawyers filed something in the courts, and they're saying that the only reason that she's been arrested was because of the failings in the Epstein case, because of his death, and that embarrassed the government. So to show that they're doing the job, they've gone after her, and she should have been arrested a long time ago if they had a case against her. But I don't buy into that at all. When they arrest someone in a case of this magnitude and complexity, the bureaucracy is very slow, but it keeps going and going and going and going. And they gather more and more information, they get more informants, they get more conspirators on the indictments, and that's how they build these complex cases up. I mean, my case was classified as a complex case, over 100 people. It took about, I didn't do my plea bag until the beginning of the third year. They were still arresting people then. So these things can go on and on and on. But even though it is a very small chance it will go to trial, I would love to see that. Because if Maxwell did name some big names at trial, certain government agencies would then have to take action upon those names. But it won't get there. She will be silenced either legally or she will be Epsteined.